Councilman Ron Davis.
Wow, everybody mute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Well, thank you again for another opportunity we have to be here tonight and be able to meet in this format as we hopefully, Lord, are rounding the corner on getting a control of the coronavirus that our nation's been paralyzed with for the last year or so. Lord, we also ask that you deal with our deliberations tonight, that you would be with each member of our elected officials of our city, as well as the county, of our state, Lord, and of our halls of Congress. We pray for a peaceful transition, political power coming up this week, and all would be done with you in mind to bring honor and glory to you. I pray that it would happen. Pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. You may be seated. Before we do roll call, make sure your microphones are turned on, since they need those so that those people online can hear us. So, all right, roll call.
Bates.
Present.
Campbell.
Here.
Dine.
Here.
Gibson. Here. Hill.
Here.
Hopper.
Here.
Lexi.
Here.
Pendleton.
Here.
And Williams.
Here. We have a quorum. All of you should have received copies of the minutes for our last regular meeting on January the 4th. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bates, second by Mr. Lexi. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? Hearing none, then roll call on the minutes.
Bates.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Dine.
Aye.
Gibson. Aye. Hill.
Aye.
Hopper.
Aye.
Lexi.
Aye.
Pendleton.
Aye.
And Williams.
Aye. Minutes are approved with a vote of 9-0. Reports, Corporation Counsel.
You should have received the item semi-monthly and also a litigation report posted on the SharePoint for your review. And should you have any questions that you can discuss at a public meeting, please ask those. If not, contact me and I'll be happy to discuss them with you.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Ms. Coons at the present? All right. Anything from the corporate or the controller?
Not at this time.
All of you should have received copies of the report on the RDC. Obviously, if you have any questions, let me know. Any other committee or board reports? All right, then moving on. This is the time that we allow people in the audience to address the council concerning items that are on the agenda. So if you're here tonight and wish to address items on the agenda, please speak up. There is a 5-minute time limit, and state your name and address for the record. We'll wait just a minute or two for that. Anyone? All right, then moving on, ordinances and resolutions. There are none under notice of intent to consider, none under first reading. Second reading, ordinance 2046.
An ordinance vacating a portion of platted ingress-egress easement located within Lot 3C, Block 3, replat Block 3A, President South Business Center, Section 1, sponsored by Campbell.
Have a motion? Motion by Mr. Lexi. Second? Second. Second by Mr. Dine. Any discussion? Ordinance 2046. Hearing none, in roll call. Ordinance 2046, second reading.
Bates.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Dine.
Aye.
Gibson. Aye. Hill.
Aye.
Hopper.
Aye.
Lexi.
Aye.
Pendleton.
Aye.
And Williams.
Aye. Ordinance 2046 passes second reading on a vote of 9-0. Ordinance 2050.
An ordinance amending Greenwood Municipal Code Sections 9106 and 9113 to revise the schedules of rates and charges to be collected by the City of Greenwood, Indiana from the owners and occupiers of property served by the sewage works of the city sponsored by Campbell.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Gibson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Lexi. This is scheduled for a public hearing, so we'll open it up for a public hearing. Anyone here tonight online wishing to speak for or against ordinance 2050, please speak up, state your name and address for the record.
And my name is Sam Eads. I'd like to speak up, and I live at 3313 Buckmore Parkway off of Route 135. I think that this increase in the rates from 76 cents for 1,000 gallons to 576 was outrageous. And even the gradual increase to 249 per 1,000 gallons, that seems a little bit excessive for an overnight increase. And I oppose this ordinance.
All right, anyone else wishing to speak for or against ordinance 2050?
Yeah, my name is Jeffrey Hancock, 1118 Harrier Court. And I happen to agree with Sam. I think it's going up too high, too quick, too fast. It's a pretty high charge already compared to other places that I've been. So I would be against it.
All right, thank you. Anyone else at this time wishing to speak for or against?
My name is Susana Moran. I live on 160 North Smart Street, 46142. And I also disagree with this increase.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, my name is Mark Davidson. I live at 1060 Heatherwood Drive. I just came to say I think it's a really high increase too, but I understand that the city had fought to keep that increase from being even higher than it was. I understand you guys are under some constraints, and I think it's probably a necessary evil in order for the city to be able to maintain the service. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else at this time wishing to speak for or against ordinance 2050? All right, hearing none, last chance. Close the public hearing. I just want to say one thing. Mr. Eads addressed the rate increase from 75 cents per 1,000 gallons to over $5 per 1,000 gallons. That is a rate increase that was demanded by citizens who bought out Indianapolis stormwater, and they run the treatment plant that all of our stormwater goes to. We fought that, in fact, went to court with some other municipalities to try to fight that, and the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission, they're the ones that gave us allowed us to do the gradual increase. So this is not something that, I agree, it's outrageous. I think it's awfully high, but we don't have a choice. That's what we're being charged as a city to process the sewage. And I will say that ever since I first got elected over 8 years ago, we were told, that's when citizens first bought the Indianapolis stormwater utility. And we were told then, I mean, that this was going to be a huge rate increase. The fact that it's taken this long surprises me a little bit. But really, as one individual said, I don't see that we have much choice as a city, because that's what we have to pay for the processing of the sewers, sanitary sewers. So anybody else on the council have anything to say at this time?
Mr. President, I have a couple of comments I'd like to say about ordinance number 2050. First of all, I don't like being forced to vote on something that I have no control over. Secondly, I don't like voting for a first year 25% increase fee for my constituents. Thirdly, I don't like voting for that increase and 5% increase thereafter for the next 4 years. I do not like voting for an increase for many who are already on limited incomes. I don't like voting on an increase when some are unemployed at this time. I don't like voting on an increase that public input must be done virtually and not in person. I don't like voting for an increase knowing that it will come back in 5 years for more increases. In short, my vote will be a vote of protest against ongoing fees and taxes down the road.
All right, anybody else on the council? Any further discussion?
Mr. Campbell,
Yes.
I agree with a lot of what Mr. Bates said, but we're being held hostage by Citizens Energy Group. To the public, if you're still there, we have no choice. We don't want this. This affects every person on this council. It's going to affect our children. It's going to affect other citizens, our friends. And Mr. Bates is right, the pandemic, the unemployment, this is not a good time to do it. But we're being held hostage or captive, however you want to title it. We have no choice. And to keep everything going and to keep the city from being bankrupt, we have to do this. There's no other option. Thank you.
All right. Any further discussion?
Mr. Campbell, I have something.
Yes.
To echo what we've kind of heard, we're kind of at a place where our hands are tied right now. But what was presented to us and what really stood out in that presentation was there was a graph that showed rates if we continue with Citizens over time continuously going up. And then if we were to do in-house treatment, it's stabilizing after we were to get to that point that we can do that and build it. I think obviously there's not much we can do right now. So we kind of have to pass this through, I think. But I think we really do need to dig into the feasibility of us doing in-house treatment and trying to stabilize this over time. Otherwise, it will be something that generations have to continue to put up with.
Yeah, other than, as long as the city of Greenwood owns the stormwater or the sanitary sewer system utility, we're gonna be at the mercy of the citizens. And the other option we have is to sell it to citizens, and I don't think we want to do that at this point. That is definitely guarantee higher rates. So, this is one of those unfortunate things that I really see no other option for us at this point. So, all right, any other discussion on the council?
Yes, I'd like to ask, is Greg Wright still on?
Yes, I'm here, Ms. Gibson.
I have a question. I don't remember what the amount was, the initial increase that they tried to charge us.
Initially, it was going to go up to almost 550. It was like 548 per 1,000 gallons when we had been at 48 cents per thousand for years and years and years before that.
Okay, and can you speak then as to what we did to fight that?
Yeah, and there was quite a drawn out court battle that turned into negotiations that ended up with basically a 10 or so year phase in, where phase one would take us from the 48 cents to the $2.48. And then phase two will be 4 equal increases that will take us up to whatever is the current cost of service at that time. So in 2016/17, when all this started, that number was $5.48. By the time we get to the end of 2025, when phase two kicks in, we have no way to know what that's going to look like yet.
Thank you. I just want the public to know that we don't take this lightly and we do our best to try to fight not only for the city, but you as individuals. We understand the difficulties it is in today's world.
Greg, could I get your attention as well?
Absolutely.
What have we, jog my memory, what we have been doing the last 5 years? I know we've been doing rate increases for the last 5 years. What were those all about?
Well, in 2016, we did have rate increases related to the funding of the Western Regional Interceptor. That is the large project going on just west of the city to connect our sewers on that side of the city to Citizens for treatment. Right now, we have 2 interceptors, so everything from the west side has to flow to downtown first before flowing north to Citizens. This is part of the Indiana Department of Environmental Management order that was to relieve some of the strains on the system, particularly the system in Old Town, where we have a much older system in the ground. And so this new interceptor would alleviate a lot of that and add capacity to the Greenwood system overall, which is good with all the growth we've had both east and west. So that's what we initially came with in 16. After that had been passed, we found out about the Citizens fight, and then by the time that came in, we were really just trying to focus on keeping those rates that we had put into effect for as long as we could and making them work. And we did get lucky on the bonds for the Western Regional, in that the rates came in lower than our estimates in 2016, just because of where the economy was at. And so that savings allowed us to absorb the first 2 years of rate increases with Citizens, in order to do that without a raise in rates.
Thank you. I think that's good that our citizens know that as well.
All right, any further discussion on the council? Yes, Mr. Williams.
Mr. Campbell, I'd like to propose, obviously, it sounds like everybody on the council agrees that this is not a vote that we want to vote yes for. None of us are going to say that an increase is necessary, but I think through the presentation and through the conversations, we all just are at the point of, we're proposing this now, but we're always going to be under the grasp and under the thumb of citizens and what they're going to do with their rates. Obviously, I think we owe it to ourselves and we owe it to our constituents to explore the opportunities that are there to cost savings down the road. Without sitting here in 5 years voting on another increase after phase 2 is completed. So could we propose a amendment to this proposal that the increase, if passed, would also be coming hand in hand with a compelling to the city to explore those opportunities for whether it's in-house management or development through that possibility. That may be a legal question there, but I think we owe it to our constituents to explore those opportunities.
I think the city has already studied having our own plant and the cost and fighting in the legislature to get that approved. They've already looked at all those options. So there may be answers to that question already with
Yeah,
the
well,
city.
I agree. I'm not sure that an amendment to that effect would be necessary because of things that are already taking place.
Like I said, I don't know the full scale of what's been done, but that's where, like I said, I think we could put that through as a compellment to say, if you've done it, that's great. Present that to us so we can look at what actions are being taken.
Part of the problem is that, like with a lot of things, they've tried not to make it very public because of the political backlash and obviously that we would get from citizens. And so they're trying to lay all the groundwork so that if they ever do anything, if we decide that's the right thing to do, they can move quickly. So, all right.
This is Sam Meads again from the audience. If I may, can I make another comment?
Technically, no. However, under the circumstances, yes, we'll permit that tonight.
I'm the president of the HOA here in Buckmore Manor. And one of our concerns is that we have a community pool that holds 60,000 gallons of water. And of course, each year you have to drain it and clean it and prepare it for the next season. Is this rate increase and is citizens going to be aware that, you know, we're not putting 60,000 gallons down the sewer and we're not going to be excessively charged for a wastewater disposal rate because it's going in our pool?
I really have no idea the answer to that question.
Greg on that.
Greg?
Yeah, I'll have to look into how you are doing the pool fill. Are you doing it just from a water meter there, or are you doing a truck fill?
Most of the time at the beginning of the season, we do it through the meter.
Okay.
We had to fill our pool twice this past year because it was not adequately cleaned by the first pool management company. So we had to drain it and refill it. And we were able to fill it through a company via the fire hydrant and his meter. But 60,000 gallons is a little expensive, especially if they're going to charge us sewer rates on pool water.
Yeah, we do have some things within the code that allow adjustments for those types of things for pools, for sprinklers during the summer. So if you want to call into our utility office, number here, it's 317-887-5288, and they can kind of go over some of those options with you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Wright. All right, any other discussion on the council? All right, hearing none, then roll call, ordinance 2050, second reading.
Campbell,
Aye.
Dine,
Aye.
Gibson,
Aye.
Bill. Hopper. Lexi.
Aye.
Pendleton.
Aye.
Williams
Aye.
and Bates.
Nay.
Ordinance 2050 passes second reading, vote at 8-1. New business, there is none. Miscellaneous business from the audience. Second opportunity for members of the audience to address the council concerning items that are not on the agenda. So if you're here tonight and would like to speak to the council, there's a 5-minute time limit. Please speak up, state your name and address for the record. Hearing none.
Oh, I could talk.
All right.
My name is Mark Davidson. Again, 1060 Heatherwood Drive. So I didn't know if I could ask a question about Brighton All that has passed the board, the zoning board's approval. I had some questions about that.
You can ask. I'm not sure we'll have the answers, but.
Oh, that's fine. So one of my concerns about that addition is they have some alleys that they're building, like common areas, to give homes access because they don't have through access to April Drive. And my question was how viable that's going to be, because it would seem like that would put a lot of onus on the HOA to resolve disputes between neighbors blocking driveways. It just doesn't seem like a very good idea. It seems like it would be better to allow those homes to have access to April Drive because they already have homes that are going to have access to April Drive now. The exception's already been made, and I think that it won't make for good living conditions there with the several lots that are forced to have that kind of access to the street. And also, my other question was, one of the alleys is actually in a 20-foot drainage and utility easement. And I didn't know if that was wise to have an alley also serve as an easement for utilities.
Well, I'm not sure the answers to those questions, and this council really has little to do with those details. That's more of the plan commission and the planning department. Dale Davis with the plan department would be the individual that could answer those questions for you. So I would suggest that you send him an email or give him a phone call.
Okay, who would that person be again? I'm sorry, I was trying to type that.
Dale Davis.
Dale Davis?
Yes.
Well, I'll see what he can do for me. I just know that that was already approved, and I was looking at that that plat, and it just didn't seem right. So
The fact that it's already been approved means that changing it probably is not likely to happen.
I understand that.
You know, you can speak with Mr. Davis about that.
Thank
All right, anyone else wishing to speak to the council at this time? All right, hearing none, then moving on, the miscellaneous business for the council. As you know, at the last council meeting, we talked about the appointment of a second person to the Fire Merit Board, and that person needed to be a non-Republican. We have two appointees. Bill Welch is the individual we appointed at our last meeting to a 4-year term, and he is a Republican. I have confirmed that with the County Republican Party. And so I think you all received an email from Ms. Gibson, and she reached out to get a lead for a man named Matt Holmes. And I believe, are you here this evening, Mr. Holmes?
Yes, I am here this evening.
All right. We as a board, would like to know a little bit about you. I know we got a link to your LinkedIn resume, but would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Certainly. Yeah, I'm going on a 10-year resident here in Greenwood, moving back down here in 2010. Went to school on the south side, got my undergrad degree at the University of Indianapolis after moving out here from California, but have been out here mostly on the south side of Indianapolis since 1998, except kind of a 6-year sojourn in Illinois and Western Michigan. But I currently work downtown at the NCA in our championships group, working with various sports there, and also a little bit of background in the fire department. I'm married into a fire department family. My father-in-law, Mike Herron, has been a fire chief in Johnson County, at a couple of places at Franklin and Edinburgh, and also my brother-in-law has been a firefighter in the county and is currently a firefighter in the Indianapolis Fire Department.
Very good. I have two questions. One, obviously, are you willing to serve then on the Fire Merit Board if we make that appointment?
Yes, I am willing to serve.
And the second one is you're not a Republican, is that correct?
Correct.
That's too bad, but anyway, for tonight's sake, we're glad. That's the case. Did anybody on the council have a question for Mr. Holmes?
Well, I met my second Democrat, so you know.
Yeah.
Then I guess the question he probably already knows is how often do they meet?
The Fire Merit Board only meets as needed.
As they
don't have regular scheduled meetings.
How long is this term?
Mr. Lexi asked how long his term was. Based on the ordinance that we passed that created this new Fire Merit Board, so that the appointments are staggered, Mr. Welch's term is for 4 years, but this term will be for 2 years. And thereafter, it'll be a 4-year term, but this term is initially for 2 years. It'll expire then 2 years from now, and we'll need to either reappoint Mr. Holmes or someone at that time. So
it's Matt Holmes.
Matt Holmes.
As a University of Indianapolis grad, I would like to nominate my fellow alum, Matt Holmes.
There we go. Go Hounds.
Yeah. Mr. Lexi nominates Mr. Holmes, and Ms. Gibson seconds that. Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right. Mr. Holmes, thank you very much. We appreciate your willingness to serve, and I'm sure someone will be in contact with you about some details. So,
thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other business from the council? All right. Other miscellaneous business, Corporation Council?
No, sir. We have none.
Controller?
Nothing.
Mayor?
I have nothing.
Oh, you are here. All right.
Surprise.
All right, then we are adjourned. Thank you.